HIMS is a very interesting company because, well, a lot of the healthcare industry has been hit in a major way over the course of the last year. Their stock has gone up by over 250%. So, this is a company that has performed very well over the course of the last year. And that's what we're going to discuss today. We're going to talk about what's going on with HIMS stock, what does the future potentially hold for this company, and I'm going to give my opinion on whether I would buy HIMS or a different company right now in healthcare. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, drop a like down below and subscribe for more videos like this one. When you think about HIMS and the products that they are actually offering, I wouldn't necessarily put them into the medical field. They are a lot more focused on overall well-being and improving the well-being of their customers. And they do this by offering products in weight loss, ED, skincare, mental health, as well as hormone health. And what's probably their biggest advantage in this industry is they are utilizing data to actually personalize healthcare. This is something that really hasn't been done before. If you think about the medical field and how it's been approached for a long period of time, there's really one solution for one problem. And HIMS is looking at it a little bit differently. They're trying to collect data and actually personalize their approach to how they help their customers. And the area that they have seen the most success in doing this is definitely in their weight loss products. These products, they have kind of come into some scrutiny within the industry as some of the larger players in weight loss have been upset with HIMS with how they have kind of stepped around certain patents and things to actually create personalized drugs to help people lose weight. And this all came to a head when Novo Nordisk discontinued their partnership with HIMS. In that partnership, Novo Nordisk was allowing HIMS to sell Wegovy directly to their customers. However, after a very short period of time, Novo said that HIMS was creating copycats of their drug that they were not comfortable with the company selling. So obviously, any sort of legal action is a concern for investors, but typically my rule of thumb is that they tend to be very short term. But something that I do think a lot of HIMS investors don't necessarily consider is long-term competition and how it could affect HIMS. Right now, they have done an excellent job at capturing overall market share in this specific section of the market. And that potential threat is none other than Amazon. If you think about Amazon and the ecosystem that they have built out, they are already in the pharmacy space. If they want to take a step further and get into this well-being space, they certainly could, and it would be very easy for the company to do. They could simply add it on to their Amazon Prime. They could bump up Amazon Prime by $1 or $2, and they would gain a massive customer base in a very short period of time. But for now, HIMS is still the number one player in this space. And the way they have really done that over the last few years is building out their product suite. We can see over the years how they have gained a number of different products. And what this ultimately does is this helps improve their revenue per user. And revenue per user is one of the two major growth metrics for this company. The first is obviously overall subscribers and specifically their personalized subscribers. They have been able to grow this from 0.4 million subscribers in Q3 of 2023 to 1.5 million subscribers in Q2 of 2025. And year over year, they have been able to increase their subscriber count by 89%. So subscribers is a great number to track for overall growth of the company. However, revenue per subscriber is tracking how engaged subscribers actually are on their platform. And back in Q3 of 2023, their revenue per subscriber was $54. That has since grown by $20 all the way up to $74 of revenue per subscriber as of the most recent quarter. But the big concern for investors is that has recently dropped from $84 of revenue per subscriber as of Q1 of 2025. In my opinion, I think this leads to another concern with HIMS. When we talk about their product range, again, it it is very much in the well being space. What that means is some of their products, if not a lot of their products, are not necessarily required for their customers. And if we see a broader downturn in the economy, I think what a lot of people could look to do is cut out certain things. They look to cut out some of their subscriptions, whether it's to Netflix or Hulu or whatever it may be. And one subscription they could look to cut out, again, if they're in financial trouble, would be a HIMS subscription. I'm sure there's a lot of HIMS bulls out there listening to this and they don't agree with what I'm saying. A lot of HIMS bulls are very confident in this company, and I do think that long term it will grow and the stock will go up in a major way. It's just a question of how much. I think overall, they still have a tremendous amount of growth in front of them. For Q3 of 2025, they're projecting their top line will grow by 42 to 47%. That is a little bit underwhelming considering the fact that the company grew by 89% this quarter. And for the full year, the company is anticipating revenue of $2.3 to $2.4 billion, which would be an increase of 56 to 63% year over year. Overall, I think the long-term prospects for HIMS are very interesting. Their management team, and I love to see this, I love to see management teams that actually put goals and targets out there into the world. What they have declared is they are trying to reach a revenue number of $6.5 billion by 2030. That's almost a 3x from the levels that they're expecting this year. So we talked about competition. I think that is a valid concern for the company over the coming years. We also talked about short-term economic cycles and the effects that that could have on HIMS. The other problem that I personally have with HIMS is their forward PE ratio. It's currently sitting at a 62.89. My rule of thumb has always been to not invest into companies that have over a 60 PE ratio. A lot of value investors have determined that a 60 PE ratio is very difficult for a company to grow into. The way the company can really grow into this valuation is by continuing to grow their top line numbers as well as expanding their bottom line margins. For the current year of 2025, analysts are expecting $1.07 of EPS. That is up only about 12 cents from last year of 95 cents of EPS. However, in 2026, analysts are expecting the company to grow their EPS to $1.38. So that is fairly solid growth year over year into 2026. And I think the company can certainly achieve that. And what's even more promising is right now, estimates for revenue growth in 2026 are extremely low, in my opinion. They are only anticipating 19.33% growth in 2026 for the top line to $2.8 billion of revenue. I honestly think the company should grow 30+% for their top line in 2026. And if they do that, they could even blow this EPS number out of the water. So here's the thing. I personally, looking at HIMS, think there's probably 30 to 50% upside over the course of the next year for the company. Obviously, the market can be very irrational. They could drive the price all the way up to $200 per share. They could also drop the price down to $25 per share. It depends a lot in the short term what happens economically for where HIMS is actually going to trade. But in my opinion, when I look at HIMS, again, there's 30 to maybe 50% upside over the course of the next year. However, when I look at a company like Novo Nordisk, I think they could go up by 60 to maybe even 100% over the course of the next year. And that's why I think that Novo is actually a little bit better of an investment, at least in my opinion. But right now, this is the YouTube portfolio, and I don't hold either of these two companies. I have a decent amount of money in the healthcare industry right now. I have UNH in this portfolio around $7,500 and Oscar Health around $4,300. I think it's a little bit hard to ask to buy into both HIMS and Novo because then I'll have a lot of money into the healthcare industry. I think I really can only add one and still stay properly properly diversified. But of course, that is all just my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts on HIMS. Do you think there is going to be an increase in competition in this market over the next few years? What is your price target for HIMS? How much upside do you think is in the company over the course of the next year? And what is your 5-year outlook for price targets for HIMS? And also, between the two of Novo Nordisk and HIMS, which one are you more likely to buy? Let me know down below. And while you're down there, drop a like on the video and subscribe for more videos like this one. And as always, have a wonderful rest of your day.